Welcome back. If you've just joined us, you're watching Channels Television celebrating 21 years of professional broadcasting. This is the news at 10. A reminder of our major stories. Nigeria and Morocco commence talks aimed at strengthening bilateral relations as the King of Morocco, Mohammed IV, arrives in Abuja on a working visit. Federal High Court orders the Department of State Services to release leader of the Islamic movement in Nigeria, Ibrahim El-Zakzaki, within 45 days. Female radio journalist abducted from her home in Makurdi, Benue State. Police launched manhunt to free victim. And Gambian President Yahya Jammeh loses election after 22 years rule over the West African country. Do remember that all our top stories can be found on our website, is channelstv.com. and on youtube.com/channelsweb. Log on to m.channelstv.com to view us live on your mobile device. You can also download the Channels TV app for Android, iOS and Windows phones from their respective stores. Besides the news and updates, the Channels TV app has an eyewitness feature. We encourage you to use it to share those pictures, videos or news of happenings around you. Just install the app, then tap and swipe to reveal the eyewitness menu and follow the instructions. And speaking of the eyewitness portal, let's take a look at some of the pictures that you sent in, beginning with this one. It was sent in from Osun State. It shows a harvest season on a farm in the state capital. Our eyewitness reporter wants the government to encourage cocoa farmers to expand production of the crop. Well, next is this picture from Enugu State. It shows the poor state of a building within the railway quarters on Ogui Road. Our eyewitness reporter, who describes this as a disaster waiting to happen, fears that the structure could collapse if nothing is done. Next is this picture from Lagos State. Here we see a stretch of the Michael Oguntona Street, a link road around the Fakoijai axis. According to our eyewitness reporter, this street serves as an alternative route for commuters who spend hours in traffic. He's asking the state government to tar and expand the road. And finally, is this picture from Lagos State as well, showing a house on Michael Alagbe Street in Ikeja, GRA, after an alleged burglary. The witness reporter, of course, who claims that the act was perpetrated by her landlady, says that apart from belongings that were stolen, she and her family now live in constant fear. She wants the authorities to protect the rights of tenants. We want to thank you so much indeed for sending in those pictures, as we ask that you keep them coming. Time now to shift over our gears to our other studio in Abuja, where that will be Linda Akigbe is standing by to take us through. Linda.
Hello, Gimba. As the various security agencies step up measures towards tackling insecurity in the country, the Federal Road Safety Commission says it is taking steps to arm its roadside personnel for their safety. This is informed by what the Corps Marshal of the Federal Road Safety Commission, Mr. Boboye Oyemi, described as increased rate of personnel casualties at the Commission. The Corps Marshal, at a forum in Abuja, explained that the act establishing the Commission allows them to bear arms. Our correspondent Larry Lasisi reports.
Drivers, making them that our drivers are
bringing together all state commanders and sector heads of the Federal Road Safety Corps. Corps Marshal Boboye Oyemi noted that this year has seen an unprecedented rate of intentional violence employed against road safety officials. He emphasized that with the death of over 70 road safety officials in 2016 alone, there has been an increase in personnel casualties at the hands of motorists who drive on the wrong side of the law.
A recent occurrence was the happening in Teletama Zamfara State, where a motorist ran into the mobile court in session, killing 3 operatives almost instantly, while a civil defense operative died later as a result of injuries sustained in the dastardly act. But the question is this: must we give up on our country? Will any foreigner come to change our road situation for us?
Following the implementation of a reviewed road safety enforcement strategy, The FRSC has recorded an unprecedented 25% reduction in road fatalities and a 15% reduction in road accidents. In actual terms, there have been 4,005 deaths and 7,657 road crashes at the end of the 47th week in 2016. The Corps Marshal emphasized that violent acts will soon be met with the full force of arms, as stipulated by the Act establishing the Federal Road Safety Commission.
The Act gives powers to the Corps to bear arms. Our personnel have been trained. About 5,000 of them have been trained. We are just waiting for the revalidation of the earlier approval. Okay? So the Act gives us the power. We've received approval. 5,000 personnel have been trained. So it's not an armed robber. Insurance cannot replace life. That is one of the issues we want to tackle as strategic sessions. Most of these cases, they were not on the road. They were by the roadside carrying out their lawful duties. And you now see a violent driver just going for them, because especially what is leading to this is this enforcement on overloading.
While the FRSC intends to protect road users, they believe recent trends necessitate measures that will safeguard the guardian. Measures they hope will eliminate unjustifiable acts of violence against their personnel.
A total of $1 billion will be needed in 2017 to respond to the needs of 6.9 million people in Borno, Adamawa and Yola who have been affected by the Boko Haram insurgency. This is according to the Deputy Humanitarian Coordinator in the United Nations office in Abuja, Mr. Peter Lumberg, who is speaking at a news conference ahead of the operations by the office for next year. He added that the funds would be used to address nutrition, food, shelter, health and educational needs of those affected.
Since the beginning of the Boko Haram insurgency 7 years ago, lives and property worth billions of naira have been lost.
Don't take anything.
Those who are alive but sacked from their communities by the insurgents have continued to live in internally displaced persons camps. The camps have poor sanitary and health conditions, while the children there have remained out of school. To ameliorate the suffering of those affected by the insurgency, the United Nations Office for Humanitarian Affairs in Abuja brought together key players to map out strategies for next year's intervention.
In the HRP, the Humanitarian Response Plan for 2017, we are going to address the needs of 8.5 million living in the most affected states in Borno, Adamawa and Yobe. We are focusing on life-saving interventions, and the Humanitarian Response Plan will try to target the lives and the dignity of 6.9 million people.
There is also a call on international agencies who have made financial pledges towards meeting the needs of those affected by the insurgency to pay up. This, according to experts at the UN Humanitarian Office, will prevent the death of thousands of people in 2017.
Yes, indeed. At $1 billion, that is a lot of money. But for a rich world, which has a GDP of over $70 trillion, it's a very small amount of money. And we are asking and appealing for those countries to mobilize quickly those resources.
But how far has the federal government fared in attending to the needs of those affected by the insurgency? The Minister of State for Budget and National Planning gives a breakdown of interventions by government.
But we are a country that has a very large number of people. And the uniqueness about this situation is that the people stayed in the country. Only a few of them filtered out and went to our neighbors. And we must encourage that. We must curtail the situation as quickly as possible so that we don't have our people migrating.
For now, the hardship caused by the activities of the insurgents in the states of Borno, Yobe and Adamawa is glaring. The displaced persons eagerly await the positive response from government and international agencies to alleviate their sufferings in the days ahead.
Meanwhile, the restiveness and instability in the Niger Delta appears to be giving the European Union some concern. To this end, the EU has asked the federal government to map out a comprehensive plan for the area, as military response alone is not enough to address the matter. The European ambassador, Mr. Michael Arion, said this during a visit to the chairman of the Niger Delta Development Commission, Senator Ndoma Egba, who appealed for greater support from the EU.
It's not by repairing the pipeline that you will solve the problem. It's just by having a deal with those who are organizing this bombing. I'm saying a deal. I should say sometimes you need, of course, a military and a security response. What we are saying is that a military response alone will not fix the problem. But some criminals who must of course, must be arrested and convicted and brought to the courts. So impunity is not good, but also rule of law is to be improved, because a lot of people are in prison waiting for their trial. So this is not good either. So you see, so a global response, military, security, political, economic, and that you don't do in 1 week. You need a plan, as I said. You need a sequence. You need a comprehensive response, and the international community, in particular the EU, we are ready to play our role.
The annual budget of the Niger Delta should just be an incremental step towards realizing an overall plan. But for now, we have annual budgets that are not part of any plan. So we must go back to a master plan. What kind of region do we envisage? What kind of region do we want to see in 10 years, in 15 years? And we begin to benchmark whatever we do as we implement the plan.
And that's all from Abuja. Back to you, Gimba.
Brilliant, Linda. Great job. There seems to be no slowing down in the accusations coming from the River State governor in the run-up to the rerun elections in the state. This time, Governor Nyesom Wike is taking on the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, on the list of ad hoc staff to be used for the poll, which the governor says is bogus. The governor said this during a visit to Kokana local government area to kick off the reconstruction of some health facilities in the area. Our correspondent, Emmanuel Ere, reports.
It's a typical antenatal day for these women at Gokana local government area of River State and the general hospitals in Terebo and Bodo in the area have been a source of worry for the people due to their dilapidated condition. This is why the state governor and his team are here to flag off the reconstruction of the hospitals. The caretaker committee chairman speaks on the state of things.
Most of our people who cannot afford to travel and pay for hospitals in Port Harcourt resorted to self-medication, quackery, and charlatans, resulting in untold hardships on families and most often untimely deaths. Your decision to renovate this hospital relies on your love for Gokana and indeed the Ogoni people. Your actions are unprecedented and highly commendable, sir.
As far as the governor is concerned, this is a promise kept.
Anything I promise Gokana people, I will do it. Because when I come knock for a door and I open a door for me.
And then the governor takes a swipe at INEC over what he describes as the release of ad hoc staff fraudulently put together for the rerun elections.
Some people, one of them don't say they don't write their name. From Gokana here, they don't put their name finish. They say they are Uniport. People, when they're for school, they say they are Uniport. Make Nigeria see.
Gokana is one of the largest local government areas in River Southeast Senatorial District, where many expect that the polls will be keenly contested by candidates of the major political parties in the state. Emmanuel Ere, Channels Television News.
Meanwhile, the resident electoral commissioner of the Independent National Electoral Commission in River State, Anyede Ikoiwak, is quick to dismiss the River State governor's allegations of fraudulent recruitment of ad hoc staff for the rerun elections in the state. According to Mr. Ikoiwak, INEC remains non-partisan in the recruitment of ad hoc staff for any election, adding that the governor's claims were not true. He promised that the commission will continue to ensure that persons recruited are trained to maintain political neutrality in the conduct of the polls. When the news at 10 returns, Nigeria plans a budget of more than 7 trillion naira for next year to boost the nation's economy. That's some business news. Join us again.